starts dropping his body weight. And I want to see how long it takes him to chill out. It becomes very important right here. So you're kind of conditioning. And the problem is that the dog will, and this is really just with the barrier, okay, is that he's projecting force, and you aren't seeing any of this until you put that there. This is classic barrier frustration right here. And when you picked her up, the question is when you get her out of there, is this going to continue? Right? Because that becomes the more of the thing. And you see the bone there, he's asserting himself. And the thing is, like, let's say he asserts himself and she goes away, he'll probably stop doing it. Right? But at the same time, you see how she's growling just a little. And that's just her being her. Yeah. She detects that he's a threat here. Yeah. And so now we're getting the right cues from her. Because now she looks kind of worried, see? He's projecting force. Right? What I want him to do is show me some calming signals. He's not doing any of that there. You want to see him give you a sit down or lay down or something. But a lot of times too, like dogs will start barking. You're generating a lot of frustration here. He'll start barking, that sort of thing, really dropping his weight. And I can tell she's nervous. He's definitely into this, but this is a real deterioration because, like I said, we were trying to get this, and then he wasn't doing that before. So let's see if he goes back here and how much of it is the bone or the actual crate. Right there. Okay. Okay. So what I'm detecting here. Okay, we can go ahead and. Let's take her out right now, and I'm just going to hold on to him right here. I just want you to hold her in your hands, yes. All right, and then just walk into the pen for me, please.
Can you walk in?
Yeah, can you walk in there for me?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Oh no, we'll try it.
Sorry.
Oh, I see what you're dealing with there. Okay. Can you just go on the other side of it?
Uh-huh.
All right. And then we're just going to collapse it right here. Just staying right there. Okay. That's very interesting. That's very interesting here. Can you? What I want you to do is walk over and then walk to the other side of the that fence right there. Okay. Yes, go ahead and walk that, please. Give him a little bit more leash here. We're going to take that bone and we're going to stick it right there under the fence. And I want to see if this generates it. Because remember how you were holding him here and we couldn't get anything, right? So I want to see what it is. Is it this? Is it your dog right there? Okay. He's sitting there. He's looking up. Step right to the fence for me, please. All right. Not doing anything. Okay. Can you back up just a little and set her down for me right there? Alright, let's see what happens here. Okay. That's very interesting. Let's go the other route with this thing. So what we're going to do here, let's take him over. Alright. I think we figured it out. I think we figured it out. What I'm saying here is now I'm going to try to bring him over here. And this shouldn't do anything, but I just want to see what happens. I'm going to corner him. And now I want you to walk up with her. So I'm going to get right here, and actually, can you hand me that bone too? Sorry, throw it to me. There we go. So I'm going to put this right here. Then what I want you to do is I'm going to come right over here in this corner. And I want you just to walk right through. You see where my camera is? Could you stand right in front of that camera for me, please? And this is a little bit, right here, this is a little bit dangerous for me because you have situations where he might redirect on me and just get really, really animated. Okay, stop right there. Right, stop right there, yes. He's not putting any pressure on you, not pulling at all here. Let's take her. Can you take that fence across for me like that again? Okay. Yeah, just about right there. Yeah, let's do that. And then let's just drop her on the ground right there again. Now this should deteriorate. This should get worse. See the body language change, the huffing. All right. Now we have the ability to target that as a behavior, like that lunging thing. Kind of tell him we don't want that. Now sometimes that's self-reinforcing because like he'll do a threat display and the dog will just go away. Now that doesn't mean that that the aggression is solved. It just means that the other dog, like he knows that if he does a threat display, the other dog will go away. That's kind of all he'll do. And sometimes it stays there. Like that's all it will ever be. But sometimes what you'll have is it will start with just projecting force, getting your dog to go away. And then sometimes even if your dog retreats, he'll still follow, those sorts of things. And that's where stuff can get different. So see how he's giving me a calming signal there? He's a little frustrated too. There you go. That's what you should have did the whole time, big boy. That's what you should have did the whole time. And so in those sorts of situations, I'm thinking that you might have some deterioration. So, you know, in terms of, you know, the aggression, it's definitely something that we would have to work on. I couldn't tell you 100% right now that we could definitely solve that. That being said, I can tell you I have solved this problem. Okay. The question that I think you really need to ask yourself is, how much of this do you want to do with her? Okay. Because even after I do this, okay, it's still not going to be 100%. You can just drop your guard. And I don't think that I wouldn't tell you that I could do it or that I would even try if I thought that it would deteriorate. But I like to put things in terms of like percentage chances, just to put it in perspective. So if I had to give this a percentage chance for working, I think you might be, how old is he?
He's 6, I think.
He's 6? Okay, you're probably about 50-50.
Okay.
I'm just being honest with you, probably 50-50. And like I said, I've gotten it down. The older the dog, the harder it is. You got 2 fairly old dogs. And I needed to see some frustration out of her. She didn't show any aggression, but she was just like, what is this? And when she felt threatened, she gave just a little bit of like, I'm threatened growl. She didn't even detect it until he started putting pressure there. But I noticed that once her body language changed, then his kind of changed as well. And she wasn't challenging him in any way. She was just straight frustrated. And so that's where you're kind of going with that. And once again, he's a very, very sweet dog. It seems like with humans, he didn't redirect on me at all, didn't turn around at all. It probably is something, especially like if I got him younger, the percentage chance would be much higher. Like if he's a year old, we probably knock this out, you know, and could probably get this solved. I still, like I said, if we're saving his life, integrating him, that sort of thing, I still think that we can accomplish that, but it's going to take probably the better part of 4 to 8 weeks. And the way it would look is you would basically start off, they'd be somewhat separated, very similar to what you have right here. We would do an elevated bed, very similar to this, but instead of being sunk, it would be higher, essentially. And then we would do some desensitizing with his toys. And what I would do is like set him on the bed, and then I would have her basically just do her thing, kind of wander around to a certain extent. I give him his bone, and then what I need her to do is walk right up to him, and then walk away without him having to project force, right? Because then it's all of a sudden he's like, okay, I'm playing with my bone, and she came up, and I started growling, or I got unsure, and she just walked away. She's not going to do anything to me. And if he asserts himself, he's violating the rules of the bed. So if he knows that, then that kind of lets you know like what direction he's going. Like, will he break this rule to project force with the bone? If you teach him you don't want that and it stops real quick, then you usually will usually see it improve fairly fast. But if it's one of those things where like you teach him a bed stay, he really likes the bed stay, he's doing it really well, you give him a bone, he really loves going on there, and then when she comes out, he cannot stay on there, right? He just keeps asserting himself. That's one of the situations where you're like, okay, that's probably not going to get that much better. So what I could do with you on this, 375 is a lot to pay to not know, right? With these sort of situations, once again, I like to under-promise and over-deliver. So I'm willing to do the training with you, and I'm willing. We probably have to recreate this a little bit. I invert it. I put him on the bed here and kind of do this, and then we work the cage out and then go from there. But I think that she's going to have a little bit of stress on her at time. I don't think he's going to put. I think we can keep him from physically hurting her. Okay. If we are on top of our handler game. And I also think what I teach you'll learn and you'll know and you'll be able to do in the future. But what we might want to do is just kind of go a little bit slower into that, and we just kind of take it one at a time. And then we basically set the training date. I come out. I'll work with you on this. And usually within the first 2 lessons is when I would call something like that. If you come out and it starts. And let's say the trajectory, let's say it started out like that, he's putting a lot of pressure, but fairly quickly I can get, you see how she's sitting down, right, getting calming signals? If I can get some calming signals out of him, and then we go like later on in that session, we try to recreate the same thing, we're having difficulty recreating it, then that's a little bit, you know, once again, more successful of a rep. And we can, if we stack those on top of each other, then we'll probably get to where we want to go. But if at the end of the rep, we're still having the same deterioration at the beginning, and it seems like he's more than willing to violate our rules, more than willing to do that sort of thing to get at her, that becomes an issue, because when you go to pick her up, okay, that's ultimately where everything should really stop. And even though he's thinking about the dog and not hurting you or anything like that, that's still just such of a dangerous situation that you really can't reinforce that in any way. And she's such a frail dog that even you dropping her might be bad, you know. So there's a certain amount of risk involved. And I just feel like it would, you know, be wise for me to just tell you about that. If you're willing to go through that, then we can definitely do the training with him. Other than that, it seems like a very functional dog. And I'll be honest with you, it did take a lot for us to get that out.
I mean, I think overall he's a pretty good dog.
Yes.
I feel sad that, you know, they had that little problem so quickly. I think if she were a different dog, you know, if she could see and she knew he was growling, she probably wouldn't have even gone close to him.
And I think you're right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, once he projected forward, she was like, her thing was like, well, where do I go? There's like, oh, that cage, crap. You know? And so, you know, I think she was legit trying to get away there. And so that's where I think you have the most light at the end of the tunnel, is because it's not like you have a dog that's trying to hold its ground and go project force back onto him.
He doesn't seem
She'll give ground if given the opportunity. And if he knows that, then he'll probably give her the opportunity and stop asserting himself. But at the same time, if that first interaction was, I'm sitting here with my bone and I project force onto her, and then it deteriorates, right? Then you're kind of throwing fuel on the fire. And what you'd rather do is this, an incompatible behavior, right? I'd rather have him doing that bed stay and then introduce her and then give him the bone. And then, you know, just have her kind of be background noise. And then it's kind of one of those things where it's not like I'm introducing a distraction into the environment that could change the energy of the room, okay? Now, these are you know, the same principle will apply really to any dog and to, you know, most of these type of situations. But that being said, there are also, you see how there are these corners and stuff here too? So what we would need to do is I need to work him in this corner, I need to work him in this corner, I need to work him in that corner, really in his crate, that sort of thing, being cornered. And working on not projecting force and all of that. So we would start off with just like, once again, martingale, long line. We'd add an elevated bed. We'd be using this a little bit because that's in your home and whatnot. And then we would basically just go from there. But, you know, it sounds like you're doing God's work here. You're trying to save them. and you're just having a tough time with the integration. Not the only one that happens with. And I think if you want to, you know, find your way out of this, we could probably just book an appointment. I'll come out, and then we'll lay it all out. And then, like I said, I'll just be 100% honest with you in terms of what I see. And then we can just go from there.
Yeah, I'm willing to give it a shot. Try a couple sessions and see if we can get him a little further along.
He's a happy guy, and that's the thing.
Yeah, he really is a sweet dog. That's why I like this. So kind of heartbreaking, you know. I feel like he's just not like a lot of people aren't wanting to adopt him probably because he's older. You know, he's sick.
And you're absolutely right. And he's very, very cute too.
Yeah, he's cute. He's a good boy. He really is.
And that's where these sorts of behaviors can accidentally get reinforced. So once again, going back to those kids, and that was probably one of the bigger things. And I don't, you know, they're probably not bad kids or anything like that, but in these sorts of situations, once again, they can accidentally throw fuel on the fire. And if he ever had any other dogs too that he was interacting with, they do these little threat displays all the time, and it's not. He wouldn't necessarily be trying to hurt the other dog, but let's say that other dog responded to it, or that other dog was aggressive, and they would try to take his bone, and he would do a threat display, and it would go away. So then he's like, all right, well that works for me, and I'm going to keep doing that. And then when she comes, she doesn't necessarily know that cue, and then you know,
see him,
like a landmine. So you know, everybody's heart is in the right place, and so we just need to add some you know, some structure, and I think we can go ahead and get this problem solved for you. Okay.
Well, let's try it and see.
So let's go ahead and pick her up for me. We tuckered her out. She's tired now.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, big girl.
I'm an old baby.
I'm so sorry. All right, Bacon. All right. So then can we just go ahead and put her in that area right over there? Because when we start to take this off, I just don't want anything to deteriorate or anything like that. I want to make sure we're 100% consistent. All right. And yeah, that's, you know, we went all the way through it. I mean, we were trying to recreate that behavior for a while, and like I said, I've done this a number of different ways. And you sit down on the couch and you go through all this. I expected to see the same thing right here, right over there. Didn't see it.
I know.
So that's why I'm saying, like, it's
really consistent.
So what you would see, you kind of see that in the trajectory too. Because what might happen is we might assert ourselves on that, and he'll look at us like, really, you don't want me doing that? And you might see it drop off, and the basically it might be a long time between you seeing that happen again, which is technically a good thing. But that's what makes this somewhat difficult. Is like you don't want the situations to kind of just happen, right? What we try to do is create the situation to a certain extent, and then see what would happen when we have control. And if nothing happens, and you have multiple reps like this, then you're going the right direction. You can get out of this. But if, let's say we put, once again, 3-4 reps in a row, 5th rep, it just goes all the heck, goes all the way back, then that lets you know that, like, in the long run, then that's not going to necessarily be a feasible solution. All right, so just, once again, I want to under-promise and over-deliver, and I think as long as we're on the same page, then we should get,